Afternoon, everybody. This is Scott Bell for scottswrestlingblog.com. Actually, no .com. It's just on YouTube. We're doing a review of the NAW show at Melton Mayhem, and it was held on Saturday, 14th of September. And I'm doing my review with my co-host here, Little Miss Mia.
Hey.
And anyway, we're going to start off the show with the NAW South Pacific title. And that was supposed to be a match between Slick Steve, the champion, and Jake Lindo. They got into the ring and basically got themselves prepared for the match before Mad Dog McCree, who had been away and wrestling in Japan for the last couple of months, since he's lost the title to Slick Steve, came out and basically demanded that Jake Lindo leave the ring and that he be given his retitle shot rematch that never took place because he went to Japan after he lost the title to Slick Steve 2 to 3 months ago. For some reason, Jake Lindo accepted that reason and gracefully exited stage left and allowed
Mad Dog to have his
Mad
shot.
Dog to have the shot with Slick Steve. The match went for about 10 to 15 minutes, was a bit all over the place at times, and I found the ending to be quite annoying. I'm sorry to say that if you do a super kick and the kick misses a guy's head by about 6 inches, the guy doesn't drop onto the ground for the 3 count. And that's exactly what happened. Mad Dog, so Slick Steve retained his title, and that match was over. The next match up we had was Jerry Craven, who would be one of my favourite NAW wrestlers, and he was up against Benny Factor, who was been around NAW for about 6 to 8 months now and seems to be coming along quite well.
That's fun. He's been wrestling. He's been around for a bit longer doing camera work.
No, he's also been doing, he's done Slam and other shows, and I think he's even done PCW shows. He may have even been involved at MCW at some stage as well.
He was involved at Alpha when that was still around.
Yeah, Alpha, and probably also OCW. He's done show fours as well. Anyway, back to the show. Back to the match. It was a backwards and forwards match, I thought. Probably not as good as I expected it to be, and probably not as good as they expected it to be either. There were a couple of moves that I felt were missed, and I also felt that a move that Jerry Craven's performing at the moment off the middle rope doesn't really work from a look-see perspective anyway. I mean, it's where he's basically flinging himself back into the middle rope and then sort of flinging, like he's getting flung onto the ropes and he's bouncing off the middle rope and basically coming back and clotheslining guys and stuff like that. The move to me didn't look, it just didn't look smooth. I hadn't seen it from Jerick before, so I suppose it's a new thing in his repertoire that he's still working on. But it was a move that didn't work for me last night anyway.
The ropes were a bit loose, so maybe it would have worked better with tighter ropes.
Yeah, probably would have. Yeah, I mean the ropes were a bit tight last night, but loose. It is something. Yeah, they were a bit loose last night, but yeah, it is something that I would say would be definitely worth working on, because it does look like a move that, when completed, would look actually quite good. The winner of the match
was Craven.
Was Jerry Craven, of course, and after that match he was attacked, wasn't he?
No.
Wasn't he? Wasn't he attacked by Mike Manson?
That's right, yeah.
Mike Manson came out with Clay Cannon and they attacked Jerry Craven before the new general manager of NAW, which was announced at that moment, was Alexi Papadopoulos, and he announced that at NAW's next show at Albion, that Mike Manson must face Jerry Craven in a cage match, and
that was already pre-decided though, I think.
I don't know, but I'd only heard it for the first time then. Anyway, basically, what he said about the match was that if Mike Manson had anybody interfere in the match, or in fact that he lost the match, that he was fired from NAW and would no longer be an in-ring performer for them. that match was accepted, so I assume that it will go on at Albion at their next show.
That's a second cage night. I think that's the completion of their last one.
Right, okay, fine.
That was set up in 2 parts.
Right. Then next up we had the Jake Lindo versus CJ Redfield match. 2 similar sized guys who both worked really well together. This was actually match of the night for both of us, wasn't it?
Definitely.
We both enjoyed it. It was a back and forwards match. Again, they traded moves and some really good moves for the sizes that they are, I suppose. A lot of high flying moves, and it was a good flowing match. It told a story.
No major issues between them.
Yeah, there was no major issues. Basically, it was, as far as I was concerned, the wrestling side of it was quite flawless, and the ending was really well set up. It was a brilliant move by Lindo that basically allowed him to pin CJ for the win, and yeah, really impressed with the match. Thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, the crowd was really awake for that match.
Yeah, the crowd did get right into it. We had CJ chants going, and Lindo's white ass, and everything else. So it was really cool, and we enjoyed that match. It was really good. Yeah. Next up, we had a tag team women's match, and that was Vixen and a local girl, Minzy Montana, versus Siren and Ashley Sparks. Personally, myself, I didn't really enjoy the match. Vixen's actually one of my favourite wrestlers, favourite female wrestlers in Australia, probably, if not even the world. So all I'm going to say is that Vixen and Minzy Montana, the local girl, got away with the win and that they won, which was great as far as I was concerned. As far as the match went, well, I don't know if you've got anything to say about it.
The only comment I've really got is about Sarah and Monroe's pants.
Okay, go
They've
for
got
it.
this sort of corset stitching down the side of them, which I can see causing a bit of an issue in the ring, because you snag that on something in the middle of a match, it just tears right down, and then, yeah, that's basically half your pants falling straight off.
Oof, wouldn't want that, would we?
Yeah, I want to hope she's wearing underpants under that.
Exactly. So, yeah, basically Vixen and Minzy Montana, the local girl, walked away with the win. We then had intermission, and it was end time for the main event. Now, the main event was for the NAW Tag Team title matches for the titles, and that was the Doll Patrol, who is Andy Rhodes and the other guy, versus Ryan O'Hare and JXT.
Josh Extreme.
Josh Extreme, yep, JXT, whatever. Anyway, it was an okay match, backwards and forwards. One of the things I did find with the match was, I don't know whether it was on purpose that the ref, I found, lost control of who was the legal person at particular times in the match. It was obvious what the finish was going to be, and you'd actually given it away in your promos beforehand, I'm sorry to say. Anyway, Doll Patrol retained their titles, and basically what that effectively meant was that Ryan O'Hare, who has been with the company for probably 2 years, I'd say.
3, I think.
2 to 3 years. Anyway, well, he was fired by the company, basically.
Very briefly, though.
His employment was terminated. Hair, goodbye. Didn't happen. Mike Manson came out with his briefcase,
ripped up his
Ryan O'Hare contract, and said basically bye-bye to Ryan O'Hare, and then the swerve happened, and the swerve that took place was that Ryan O'Hare had in fact been fired, but Zach, what was his name? Zach Navarra had been rehired, and that is his real name. And he'd actually...
Jake Navarra.
Jake Navarra. And he'd actually been...
Read your own notes.
Fair enough. And he'd actually been rehired 2 to 3 weeks ago under that name, and signed the contract last night in front of the crowd who were booing and hissing and everything else, and then got into the ring with Clay Cannon and Mike Manson and beat down Josh Extreme, JXT, whatever you want to call him, to a pulp. They hit him with a kendo stick, blood everywhere, wasn't pretty. This took place for a couple of minutes before the entire NAW roster came out from backstage for the
And kind of scared them all off.
mandatory save, basically, and the guys ran through the crowd and probably into the car park and into their waiting taxis and went home. I don't know.
I think the entire like front row got a little bit scared at that moment, because I remember jumping back, because you just had like all these guys running towards you, jumping over the barriers, and you're just like, whoa!
I know, they're pretty scary guys too, I must say.
They're pretty well built.
Yeah, they are. Some of them are.
Yeah.
Anyway, all in all, I'm sorry to say I have to give this show about a 4 out of 10. Some of the matches were great, and, you know, shit happens.
There were a couple of good moves in some of the matches, but
Yeah.
I reckon overall the majority weren't exactly
Exactly. So
well executed.
there's two people's opinions anyway, like them or not. Who gives a shit? I don't really care. But that's it anyway. Scott's Wrestling Blog out. Enjoy.